Hello.
Hey, how are you, Leanne?
Welcome. Good,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Pleasure to be here.
You too. So would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about the history of your store, and show
Sure.
us around.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Rosemary Roberto. I am the third owner of Ellman's Dancewear. The store was actually established in 1948, so we are
Oh
celebrating
wow.
72 years of being in business. Yes,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I actually shopped here as a child myself, so
No
it's
way.
quite. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. When the store first opened, it was just a standard shoe store in the city of Richmond. And then over the years, customers were requesting ballet slippers, tap shoes, which then evolved into dance apparel. And then when Mr. and Mrs. Ellman sold the store to Joanne, who was the second owner in the early 80s, she was actually a very close friend of my family. And she owned a costume shop up the street. So she merged the two businesses into one building. So I have probably been a part of Ellman's for the last 52 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I worked here in high school, and
Oh
then
my
I left.
goodness.
I left for probably about 15 years and came back in 2000, I guess it was 2001, and took over as manager. And then Joanne retired 3 years ago, and I bought the business, and I moved us up 2.5 blocks down the street. We went from a 3,000 square foot space to 6,000 square feet. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's really nice. The building that we're in, it's very Art Deco. It was the first post office in the city of Richmond in 1900. So we're a 72-year-old business in a
Oh my gosh,
120-year-old
the
building.
history is
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, it really is.
Wow.
That's what I think that's what's really sweet about the whole thing is that the business itself, the building, and then myself being invested in this store so much really makes it quite special, to say
Absolutely.
the least. Yeah.
Goodness.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
It's probably the oldest dance store I've ever encountered in my life, actually.
uh, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. And we actually, that is all that we sell. We used to sell skate many, many years ago, and we got out of the skatewear business. And then it was just gymnastics. We did aerobic wear when aerobics was in. But right now, we are exclusive to dance. We do have some liturgical apparel that we sell to our praise dancers, but I would say 90% of what we do is ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, ballroom, you name it.
Amazing. So
Yeah,
would you like to show us around your store?
sure. Let's see. There we go. All right,
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm at the back of the store looking towards the front. We pushed our couches to the far side because I just want you to see these arrows. We have by appointment only shopping visits while COVID-19 is going on. And we
Uh-huh.
are able to be open as a non-essential small business, but we opted to do by appointment visits and
Hmm.
made markers on our floors for 6 feet distancing and arrows. But anyway, I want you to see these pretty awesome shelves that we have. They used to
Oh,
be
wow.
on they used to be on a track and they would slide in our other
Oh
location, but
my
because
God,
we have
wow.
yeah, but because we have so much space here, they're able to remain standing and not
Uh-huh.
moving. So all of our shoe stock is actually out on the floor as opposed to being in the
What a great
back.
idea.
Um, yes, and then we love these beautiful Art Deco windows. There's
Oh,
actually a
they're
point shoe fitting.
gorgeous.
We've got a point shoe fitting that's going on right now.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, so let me move this way a
Hi,
little bit.
guys.
So this is our point shoe fitting area.
Uh-huh.
And then normally our racks would be displayed a little bit differently, but again, we've got all this open space.
Uh-huh.
We have really high ceilings, and these beautiful ceiling fans were actually here when we moved in. There used to be a home decorating business. So we like them, and it's funny
Yeah,
because a
they
lot
look
of the
good.
kids, they're like, oh, are those fans dancing? They look like they are. So anyway, this is the front of the store looking to the back. We have all of
Wow.
our kids apparel and our adult apparel out. And then this is where our praise dance area is, and our dressing rooms, and our counters actually towards the back, but we do have a rear entrance. So that's where our checkout counter is. And then this is our lounge area that we have for people who come. Yeah, we've got a kids play area and a seating area and free Wi-Fi. And this would be our clearance section. And then that's looking towards the front of the store again from the back.
Store. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's wonderful considering where we were before. It's pretty amazing. And then we have a back stock room, which we can take a peek, but there's mounds of back stock for apparel and tights, and then any of our clearance shoes. So that's pretty much the first floor. We have a loft upstairs, and that's employee lounge. They have a full kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
it's so cool. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
So tell me a bit about like how many employees do you have? How many people do the point shoe fittings?
Well, I mean, obviously during recital season and back to school, we have upwards of 15 staff. And I would say that the majority of our staff do point shoe fittings. They are trained for about 3 months, and everybody that works here has danced, not necessarily on point, but they have danced. So about right now what we're doing, there's about 5 of us that are here while things are a little bit quiet. But normally during busy season and recital season, and then in the summer for summer intensives, during the day, Monday through Friday, there's usually about 3 or 4 of us, and then Saturdays and Sundays are always busy, and we could have upwards of 5 to 7 employees in one day.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about like the products you sell. Do you in regards to dancewear and point shoes, tell us a bit about how a point shoe fitting goes with you guys. Do you have like any kind of things that are very special to you in the way that you give your service to dancers?
So one thing that, one of the things that we are known for are our point shoe fittings. We take an extensive amount of time, and we don't stay committed to one brand or one model. When a dancer comes in, we measure their feet, we have them stand in first position, we watch them tendu. So we're looking at all facets of the feet while they're standing flat, as well as when they go into releve.
Of course.
Yeah, and then obviously, so we try on different padding, we try on shoes based on the strength of their feet, the shape of their feet, and then we take them over to the stage and have them step up. And obviously, you know, I'm sure when standing flat, it's totally different when they go up on point. So you think you have a shoe conquered, and then you see when they go up on point, everything gets scratched, so you have to start over again. But I think what's really nice about what we do, as all of us having been or currently are dancers, is we're not just looking at the shoe on a foot. We take a step back and we look at the entire body, what's happening from through the ankle, through the knee, through the hip.
Absolutely, so crucial.
Yeah, and that's very, very important. We do find it's sometimes a very challenging concept for dancers to accept that the shoe is not doing all of the work for them. It's there to accompany their feet, and that's not meant in a negative way, but it is a struggle. I know what you mean. Yeah, right. So I would have to say that's one thing that does set us apart. And there's so much information we do give to people. A lot of our staff also has experience in physical therapy, in massage therapy. So there are different perspectives. And I could tell you without a doubt, if you took 2 of us and had each of us fit one person for shoes, we would come up probably with something completely different based on what we're seeing. Yeah. So I would have to say our focus on the entire body, and knowing not just about our stock and our inventory and how the shoes are designed, but it's looking at it from a dancer's perspective and asking questions about how many times a week, what kind of surface they're dancing on, and how some of that may come into play with the wear of their shoe, how their technique would affect them.
Absolutely. I think it's really crucial, being a fitter, like you've mentioned, to look at everything together, because sometimes I find that some fitters don't do that. They literally just look at the feet, and that's quite a worry.
Yes.
Also in the UK, we have a lot of fitters that don't even look at the dancers' bare feet. They literally just be like, okay, here's some shoes, put them on.
Right.
So I'm like, what on earth? You know, there's so much that could be going on. And also, as you know, communication with the dancer as well. If they're not beginners, asking them what they're expecting from their shoes. Any problems they've been having. You know, have they got a performance coming up? What kind of role are they dancing? All these questions are so vital in helping someone decide if they maybe need to buy 2 different pairs, 3 different pairs, different shape strengths. You know, it's incredible, obviously, what goes into fitting, as we both know.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about any of your personal kind of tips for people that are maybe going on pointe for the first time and would like to come to you guys for a first fitting. What would you suggest? How should they prepare, and how should they get themselves ready for pointe as well? Any top tips for that?
Sure. I do think it helps when their teacher does speak with them, either as a class or individually. And one thing I do feel that is very special with us is that we're close with our studio, not only the owners, but the pointe teachers as well. And many times it helps to know how those teachers do conduct their classes. They might not, for the first 3 months, even be going on pointe. They're just standing at the bar and rolling through. So we do try to create a realistic setting for them without dashing their dreams, because I do find at times with certain dancers, and it's very different if they're a recreational dancer than if they are someone who's been training for a while, and the discomfort of a pointe shoe, it's not natural, it's very challenging. I try to avoid using negatives. What I will ask is, can you feel a full extension on your toes? Not, do you feel like your toes are crunching? Because that, you know what I mean? So I learned that years ago from teaching, is that when you're going to speak to your students or correct them, try not to use a negative. How can you approach them with feedback, but in a positive way? So asking if their toes are fully extended. I actually take their hand and I will hold it and put my hand at the end of their fingertip, so they understand, because pressure is very relative. I might consider something that it has gentle pressure to be extremely pressurized. It just depends on my sensitivity. So we make sure that we show, and we don't want their toes to be pushing back or rolling over. And having them feel, I think it's not just because they've never been in shoes. They have to understand what they're feeling before they actually get their foot in the shoe. Because a lot of times getting the foot in the shoe becomes not traumatic, but it's a little bewildering, because you know, they see how beautiful professional dancers are and think it's so easy. Little do they know the wear and the tear and the pain and the blood and the sweat and the tears. So it does help to prep them in that manner, and that's when they're standing flat. And I just have them stand for a few minutes so that their foot settles in the shoe and they kind of feel what it's like. And I explain to them it's not like having a sneaker on. The shoe will eventually mold to the shape of their feet, and once they feel settled in standing, we step over to the bar and go over specifics with just placing their foot onto the platform before they're actually weight bearing. And I would say the majority of the time that helps. And of course they want to go up both feet together, and we take it one at a time to be sure that we're seeing the foot, each foot obviously being different, how it works one foot at a time as opposed to just popping
because another thing is, like, a lot of first timers kind of think they're going to be very equal on both feet, and as we both know, very common that they
Yes.
have a weaker side, and it can be a little
Yes.
bit nerve-wracking for them.
Absolutely.
Also, I was about to say something, and I can't remember what I was going to say now. It'll come to me. So regarding, you've carried Grishko in the past.
We have.
You're going to switch to Nikolay, which is great.
Yes.
Are
Yes.
there any models in particular that interest you the most?
Yes. So what we had in the past, and we're going back 25 plus years, we used to carry the Ulanova and the Vaganova, and then that went into 2007s for a very long time, and we actually kept with that. I think Maya's were actually here before I came back the second time. And then we brought in the Nova Flex a couple of years ago. The one thing we found with our clientele, and I think it's just very indicative to Richmond, we have very widespread metatarsal feet. They're not necessarily thick, but they are wide, and many times putting them in a shoe that has a more narrow or tapered box and platform, it's much more challenging, obviously, to find center. So that was always a challenge with the 2007s. And I know in the past when I'd speak with people from Grishko, well, that's our most popular shoe. And I will tell you, we always go left of center. We're opposite, we seem, for so many standards. But when Peter was here back in March, I had looked at carrying the Miracle, bringing that in, and the Smart Point. And then within less than a week after Peter was here, we went into shutdown mode with COVID-19. But those were the two models. Yeah, those were the two models. And I'd love your feedback on this, that I was contemplating bringing in, considering the type of feet that we get in here.
So I would definitely carry the Maya 1 for sure, because although some people look at Maya 1 and they think it looks tapered, it's actually a very roomy shoe, and I fit a lot of broad feet into any of the models that Frate last actually. But the Maya 1 in particular is a favourite of mine because it's lighter weight, it has more flexibility in the shank and a good roll through. But also, of course, we can also even do a 6X width, don't forget. But here's the good thing about Maya 1. I don't know if you're aware, but the widths come up wider. So, for example, a 5X width is actually like a 6X width in, say, 2007, because the shoe fits wider, which is great, because it means we can fit more broader feet in it. But also what I like about it is because it's got a V-vamp, it showcases the foot and makes the foot look more slender. Because some people with broader feet get a bit paranoid about their feet looking chunky in their point shoes. And also Smart Point is also wonderful for that too. But there's a big difference between Smart Point and Maya 1, because Maya 1 is built on Frate last and Smart Point is its own last. They're both great. Smart Point is particularly wonderful for people with lower arches and people with, you know, generally stiffer ankles who have trouble getting over. And the paste of that one is that lightweight flexible paste. So if people like that, then that model's great for that. But with Maya 1, the paste is the classic Smart, so it's a little bit firmer. And you know, some dancers like that. So it's good to have a broad option, because not everyone is going to want the lightweight paste, but not everyone is going to want the classic paste. Also, both models feature a lovely platform, so they're going to get great balance. Because everyone likes a great, nice platform on a point shoe, who doesn't, right? And I love the fact that with both of those models, you can also, the dancers can feel the difference between them. But it means that you as a retailer can fit more types of foot, because we never used to have Smart Point, obviously, for a while. It came out like 2 years ago, I think it was now. And the great addition with the Smart Point is it also stops dancers who would sometimes say, you know, oh, Grishko's or Nikolay's are very hard shoes. So all our models with the flexible paste and more flexible shanks helps to tell that dancer that actually, look, we have such an incredible range now. And also for you guys in the US, you know, having Nikolay is amazing, because now you get more access to more models and more strengths of shoes. Thank goodness. Because I couldn't imagine like not having that access to all those models. So that personally, if I was you, I would definitely get the Maya 1 as well. I think it would be a really good option. And I forgot to say, with the Maya 1, it's a medium vamp. So I don't know about you, but I get a lot of dancers that don't have really long toes and they can't all work a long vamp because they don't get a good demi point when they roll through.
Right.
And also, you know, if you're drowning someone's foot in a really long vamp, it looks a bit funny and it can put pressure on different areas that we don't want. So it's really good to have a mixture of vamp lengths in pointe shoes too, of course.
So I actually have a question for you because of the diverse group of dancers, pointe dancers that we cater to, we tend to run one end and then there's that middle, and we have the dancers that need shorter vamps,
Yes.
more pliable shanks, right? A little more malleable. And then I have dancers that have the hypermobile ankle.
Yeah, I can suggest shoes for that as well.
Right? And so a lot of times they want the hypermobile feet, want a shoe that is more flexible but doesn't push them too far forward.
Yeah.
And I find with a lot of feet like that, I need to put them in a shoe that has a little bit longer vamp or a little bit fuller throat. And it's not always about a stronger shank. It's
Can
about.
You just move your phone up because it's catching on something. The microphone, I can hear it's a bit.
How's that? Is that better?
It's a bit tinny. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's I don't know. I can hear you, but it's just gone a different sound. It's like not as clear as it was.
Huh. Can you help?
What it is?
I don't know.
Oh, hang on. Maybe that's better. Weird. Maybe it's a connection, perhaps bandwidth or something.
It might be rubbing on that.
There we go. That's better. Yes.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yay! Okay. So hypermobile feet isn't always about a stronger shank.
No, absolutely. I agree.
And many times that is the common response is I have high arches, I need a stronger shank. And meanwhile you put them in a stronger shank and their foot's here and the shank is out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it just doesn't suck in their arch. I totally agree.
Right.
You know, I often get dancers come to me that have been somewhere else, or their teacher has told them, you must get a stronger shank because of your arches. And I think it's because it's an old-fashioned term. You know, years ago, we didn't have our amazing options we have now. So perhaps these teachers, because they've been taught that way, they think that's how we solve the problem. But in my opinion, we don't. You know, we need something that sits in their arch correctly at the correct break point, because otherwise it's not going to get in there, not support them. Their weight drops down, the box crumples, they bend too far over. So for me personally, I end up with those feet. Here's my favourite models for that. Sometimes I have to custom order. And if you do have to custom order, we can do that in 2 weeks and ship on day 15. So at least we have the speed of custom order now, which is wonderful. But if we can solve it by not doing custom, here's what I tend to do. I start with a Nova. And the reason why I go for Nova is the higher wings give a lot of stability to very hypermobile feet, and the shanks on Novas are a nice construction, but they still bend lovely at the 3/4. Hang on, let me just get you. You've probably seen a Nova anyway, but maybe you haven't.
We have, yes, we do.
But for the viewers, just in case viewers are wondering, here's a Nova. So it has higher wings, which give really good stability. Also a lower cut heel, because sometimes the dancers with a lot of mobility have disappearing heels as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So
3 inches of fabric in the back.
Yeah, so with the lower heel, it looks better. So I found great success in Nova. Sometimes I have to tweak Nova in a custom. I have to make the vamp higher or the wings higher. Or sometimes I have to measure where I want the shank to break. So I measure where the dancer's arch is hitting that spot, you know what I mean, and I request that they make it to cut at that angle in a 3/4 shank. So that's one of my personal favorites for that. Then what I'll try is Dream Point 2007 pre-arch. I have success with that one as well. Usually the medium flexible, sometimes actually the hard flexible in that one. The reason why is the hard in that is different because it has like what I call a fake 3/4, because it bends beautifully at the 3/4 point. So some of the dancers with those kind of feet actually like the hard flexible in it. And then I sometimes try Super Triumph pre-arch, because if they've got a foot with a thicker profile, Sometimes it will not work, of course, in Nova or Dream Point 2007. And if their toes are more of an even length and not so tapered, they're going to enjoy the Super Triumph pre-arched a lot more. And again, those lovely thermo shanks, but they're thicker construction, pre-arched again, lovely high wings. And yeah, those 3 models are my personal top 3 for hypermobility or very, you know, feet that need that extra support there. I tell you what is crucial as a retailer is to make sure that you carry a few different shank strengths. So you might know this already, but some retailers, unfortunately, they just carry like medium, and it doesn't suit everybody. Because of course, if we get dancers with lower arches or flatter feet and they need that extra help, they're going to benefit. You know, for example, in Dream Point 2007, they might want the soft flexible. In Miracle, they might want like medium. In 3007, they might want the soft or the super soft or even the Pro Flex medium. So it's good to have that variety, because also it keeps customers interested and it makes customers realize that we have such an incredible selection. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Do you have any questions about Nikolay products that I might be able to help you on? Anything else? If you can't think of anything right now, we can always do it later on anyways.
Yeah, you know, Peter did such a good job when he was here explaining a lot. I'm looking forward. Once we get up and going again, I want to bring the shoes in because I feel like it's crucial. I mean, what's important for us being known for our fittings is to have a nice variety of shoes that will fit a variety of dancers. And we already do. I just like adding more to it, needless to say. Yes, but and I think also it's important. Sometimes my staff tends to go with favorites. And they'll come to me and say, I'm having a really hard time with this one foot. And I'll say, and what I say to them is, let me come over and see. And it's a matter of switching padding out or just kind of, I mean, again, I've been doing this for so long. I feel like I do it in my sleep. But there are these little things you just know, and knowing the shoe, you've got to know your shoes. And sometimes you can't help a lot of that rotation that may occur. It might just be the feet if they're pronating. I mean, we try everything, shorter, longer, narrower, wider, changing the shank. I think that's what's most challenging about point shoe fittings is the variables that you deal with. It's not just, oh, this model doesn't work. Have you tried that model in a different shank? Have you tried it in a different width? Have you? And I've said this 1,000 times, and I know that my loyal customers will laugh because they're tired of hearing me say this. When I go over to the stage and I step into a fitting that's been going on that kind of is stalled, or even one that I'm doing, it always comes down to the padding for me. I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be one page. It's going to be one page. Yes, and it's going to be. It's all about the padding. That's because
it really
I think it truly is, and dancers don't even understand just the tiniest little difference on the side or on the top will change the fit of a shoe drastically.
The right spaces as well, because there's so many types of spaces, and a lot of people don't realize.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got, I don't even know how many different sizes. Whatever's available, we have them in the spacers, super spacers, regular spacers, demi spacers. But yeah, I
totally agree, because sometimes I find fitters just, you know, stick on one type of toe pad to suit everybody, and it's too thick for some people. And, you know, you've got to really play around and figure out. I always say less is more. You know, start minimal and work up. Don't just bung everything in there, because also the dancer's got to feel what she's doing. So crucial, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, you know, with regards to carrying Nikolay shoes, it's also great to obviously have a good selection of sizes to play around with. And the fact we do obviously a lot of shank strengths, and the fact they do fit slightly different in some of them, it's just nice to have that kind of assortment there.
Yes.
Also, by the way, we've done 2 seminars recently, and the last one we did yesterday was all about custom order, and it was really fascinating to hear about all the types of special order we can do, how we can you know, interest our dancers that come to the stores, and how we can make the absolute perfect shoe. We can even build shoes on their own last, so they can actually have their own personal last. That is astounding.
Do you find, because I do, I don't know, maybe it's just me and maybe it's us here in Richmond, Virginia, but I find a lot of my regular point shoe customers that their feet in spring and summer are not the same as they are in the fall and winter.
Yeah.
And many times, especially when they start summer intensive, and they're suddenly not just, it's not about doing point all day. It's about being upright on your feet from 9 in the morning until 5 in the evening. And a lot of them, if they take their point shoes off at lunch, they can't always get them back on because their feet have swollen. So I do find that for some of our customers, we have to kind of tweak a sizing and maybe even sometimes the model, because their feet are not the same depending on what time of year it is. And I've noticed that. Yeah, it's very tricky. And I've noticed that with a lot of dancers that have stayed with the same. I've had the same shoe, size, length, width, shank for 5 years now. And they'll come in and, you know, they don't always know. I think dancers get so used to the way a shoe feels, whether it's correct or not.
What you mean.
And it's very challenging. Yes,
really
yeah.
And
they're
also,
used to the way it feels.
Like sometimes the parents will not understand either, and you'll be like, but don't you get it? Like some people's feet just swell more. We can't help that, you know?
Yeah.
And you try to explain that you're trying to keep the dancer healthy, and it's really not good for them to squeeze their feet into a shoe too small. Oh God, it's just amazing. But I'm just so glad we have that custom. So we have download links on the Nikolay Retailer group for the seminars that we did, by the way, if any of your staff would like to watch them.
Excellent.
And let me just read this 1 second. Also, I heard that you liked some of our new body wear that we do as well.
Yes. Yes. We're bringing some of that in as well. That's exciting.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I really love that. You know what sells well? I'll tell you a bit about what sells well for me in England. You know, the heat retention wear is definitely one of the top things. Because what I found was with the trash bag pants by other brands, you know, they're very crinkly, they don't look very sleek. But our heat retention wear is, it dries very quickly, but it also comes in, it's not that, like the crinkly kind of heat layer is under the side, but we've got beautiful fabrics on top that are very soft. And the fact we do the shorts, we do the pants, we do the short unitard, the full length unitard. And, you know, it's unisex as well in different colors. It sells incredibly well. It also, like, because I've worn some other brands of the trash bags, and I found that, you know, you'd put them on, but the waistband would kind of not feel very comfortable. But also, although you could move, it didn't feel like you had a very good freedom of movement in them.
Right.
And you didn't get as hot as quick as in the Nikolay ones. So literally, I can put mine on for the bar, and literally 10 minutes after bar, it's incredible how fast I can heat up in them. So those are done very well, but also they pack very lightweight, so you know, dancers don't want to lug loads of stuff around. It's nice when we can just roll something up and it fits nicely, and they can just take it out and it retains shape. You know, it's not like they take it out and it's all crumpled. It's beautiful. I really love it.
I'll have to put that on my list of to-dos.
Have to, definitely. And you know what, I even wear mine like in the summer as well, because you know, some studios with aircon, they get a bit chilly.
Yes.
So it's a really good all-rounder product. Also, of course, our new collections, the Bolshoi Stars Senses, absolutely astounding. I love the quality of we've got different types of lace and mesh. I'm a massive fan of mesh. Adore mesh.
It's very elegant.
Selling great because we've got short sleeve leotards, fin straps, we've got the cap sleeve, we've got it all going on, because of course not all dancers want to wear just one cut of Leo, because everybody's body is a different shape, right?
Absolutely.
And we have premium Italian fabrics, so our fabrics are chosen extremely carefully and they wash beautifully. So, you know, sometimes I get a new leotard from another brand and within like 5 washes the colour has faded and I'm just like, what's that all about? I just spent good money on that. So I love the fact that, you know, it lasts a long time, and it feels like a second skin, their fabrics, which a lot of people have said, which is super interesting. So that's great. We also have our lovely knitted warm-up wear, which
that I did, yes.
Oh, so cute. The shrugs, the shorts, the trousers, the unitard. We had the old collection with the purples, but now we've got this lovely collection with the greys and browns, which is great because not, you know, again with colours, not everyone's going to love the really ultra feminine colours. They want colours that are more neutral so they can mix and match with their other dancewear, I find. So that's just fabulous. So what's your favourite thing about owning a dancewear store?
You know, it's funny that you say that. I was just talking the other day that I don't like being in the office and doing all of the paperwork and the admin. My favorite part is being on the floor working with customers. I love doing point shoe fittings. I'm a problem solver by nature, so that's my thing. And I will, on a Saturday, I'll be up in the point shoe fitting area. Aside from eating my lunch for like 15 minutes, that's where I'll plant myself. But I like being able to solve that mysterious puzzle for dancers.
Yes.
That's my favorite part.
It's super satisfying, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. You feel like you've conquered something that was extremely challenging, and the dancer, I think that's the one thing, is the gratitude that not just the dancer but the parents feel when we take so much time and we educate. That's our big thing too, is just to educate.
Yes,
and that's not something, it's not something they always will get if they've been to other stores. So I feel confident that we do, that's what we do, and we do it well, and I'm proud of all my staff, not just for point shoe fittings, but for everything else that they do.
It's great when clearly you have a passion for your job, and that shows, and that to me is very important when you work in this industry.
Absolutely.
So what I really enjoy is when I travel, I go into different dance stores, even like abroad, obviously, because in England it's a little bit tricky because a lot of people know me anyway. But when I go abroad, I love to go in dance stores and have a point shoe fitting, and I love to like browse the dancewear and ask some questions and see the experience that I get. And sometimes I literally just feel like I just want to walk out because they just don't have that drive. They don't have that. They can't tell you about the product enough. They're just like, oh yeah, we got this, it's new in. It's just like, oh my God, tell us about it, you know.
Right.
And when I ask questions about their point shoes and why they're putting me in that shoe and what they're looking to achieve with that, they're just like, oh, I just, you know, thought I'd try this one and see what it looks like. And I'm just like, oh, okay. But it's so nice when you really enjoy your job, because it will show to the customer, and you know, people will come back, and that is what we want, obviously.
Yeah, at times I will actually make suggestions of what I look at what they have on their feet when they come in the store.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if I'm seeing some foot concerns, I will say to mom and dancer, you know, your daughter is in these shoes and that she wears every day 90% of the time, and she's in the studio maybe 10%, and how those shoes are holding her feet and her body is what's going to dictate when she gets into the studio and how she holds herself. So I kind of take it beyond a little, and it's not just about maybe the way you're standing, but why are you standing like that? Yes. Is it structural? Is it genetic? Or is it because you're not getting the kind of support that you need in your everyday shoes? Yeah, sometimes I give too much information, but that's okay.
Can you just, your sound's gone funny again. Can you do whatever you did to rectify it? I don't know what you did. Hang on.
What did you do before? I'm getting tinny again.
Hang on.
What did you do before? Was it something that Leanne did that changed, or did you do something? I think it was you that changed it last time, Leanne.
Let's see, hang on. One moment. Let me just refresh that. Okay, let's try again. Hang on, let's see.
Okay. I can hold it if that's the case.
Sometimes it's because when it it's on something, it can sometimes, you know what, I don't know what phone you're using, but on an iPhone the speaker, the microphone can sometimes, if it's too close to something, it can make a weird sound.
Am I still sounding weird?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
All right.
We can make out what you're saying. We might have to, if it carries on, I'll reboot the feed and we can carry on from there.
Okay.
Hang on. Let's see. By the way, everyone watching, you can ask questions and we will get round to them, just to let you know. So tell me a little bit about the dance community in Richmond.
We have quite a varied dance community. We have Virginia Commonwealth University has a Bachelor of Fine Arts program in dance. So we have college dancers majoring in choreography as well as performance. We actually service 50 studios in the Tri-Cities area. We have the Richmond Ballet is the state ballet of Virginia. They have a professional company as well as a school, and then we have many local studios that can have upwards of 800 or 1,000 students. There are a lot of competition focused studios as well as ballet oriented. There's a lot of recreational. So we have a good diverse group of dancers, both recreational and serious minded.
Okay, still a little bit tinny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reboot the stream because that'll probably sort it out. I think it's to do with the bandwidth. So what we'll do, guys that are watching, we're going to just restart this feed. So please join us again. And we will do another 15 more minutes of the stream. So please come back. We'll see you in a bit.
Okay.
Hang on. Hello, welcome back.
Is that better sounding?
Oh. Yes, it's better.
Awesome. Yay!
Fabulous. So everybody, welcome back to our stream. We're going to carry on with our stream here. So it's all working. The sound's great. Hooray. So, oh, by the way, do you guys have a website? Promote it. Tell us about it.
Yes, we do. It is ellmansdancewear.com, and we are just now, while we have all this extra time of not being open our normal business hours, we are adding e-commerce as we speak. So, yeah, we actually got a little taste of it last Wednesday for International Dance Day. We had a special for people to buy 2 pair of tights and get 1 free, and everybody ordered them. They ordered them from our site, and it worked really well. So that was a good kind of dress rehearsal for the future, and it worked out well. So we hope in the next week or so that we'll have a pretty decent amount of inventory, pretty basic, for people to be able to buy online. So yeah. Yep.
How have you been coping with the COVID-19? Have you been doing any like curbside pickups or anything? Obviously right now I see that you're able to do social distancing in your store, which is great.
We are offering free shipping. We're offering curbside pickup and by appointment shopping visits. The governor just had an announcement right before I joined you. We start next Friday with phase 1, and there really isn't anything that has changed for what we would be doing. No more than 10 people in a store, 6-foot distancing. But I'm kind of teetering on, well, what do we do? Because the studios, and this is what my staff is working on right now, we're getting a list together of a good majority of the studios that we service, and they'll be calling them next week to find out what their plans are for phase 1. So we have an idea of what to do with our business hours. Do we want to extend what we're currently doing? And right now we're just open 11 to 4, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Now normally we're open 7 days a week. 10 to 6 during the week, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and 1 to 4 on Sunday. I doubt that we will go back full force with our normal business hours starting next week, but I think how much we increase our hours will depend on when are the studios back in the swing of doing things, because we've pretty much missed recital season, and some of the studios weren't sure that they could get later dates in the summer before September got here to have their recitals. I think depending on the studio itself and the number of students that they have enrolled, I don't know that they felt it was worth to even continue because many studios are doing virtual classes. So it's very, again, it's so vast and varied depending on the studio. So hopefully next week we'll be able to connect with quite a few of our studios and know what their plan is.
That's great news. It's nice that we have kind of light at the end of the tunnel almost, if you see what I mean.
Yeah,
in England,
yeah.
we don't have anything. It's just still locked down, and it's just like,
oh wow. Yikes.
Can you tell us a little bit about, I think I saw mobile ballet bars on your Instagram, I think it was.
Yes, they are portable ballet bars made from PVC piping. So I got that idea from a fellow retailer. It's probably been a month. I messaged her and I said, tell me what you're doing, because we had already been selling masks that one of our vendors had started manufacturing. So we were doing really well with that. And our biggest mantra this whole time has been, we don't want to push sales onto people. We don't want to push shoes. This is not what we're about. We want to be able to support our customers. So I thought, man, this would be a great idea if I could figure out what she's doing. So of course my husband, who's very handy, he owns his own business, but he's very mechanically oriented and he likes to build things. And he said, oh yeah, I can go to the, Home Depot and I'll get PVC piping and the fittings. And he came up with really creative and inventive ways to expedite the manufacturing process, if you will. So we took it and we ran with it, and I did social media on it. We sent emails out. We put that on the homepage of our site. We've sold about 50 ballet bars.
Wow,
and it's
nice.
just been, it's been a real help for a lot of our dancers who are doing virtual classes and don't want to use a dining room chair or a kitchen counter. Yeah, so that's really been a nice. Yeah, that's been a nice little extra.
Little quirks that everyone's been doing. There's another store that's been making pieces of dance floor to sell as well.
Yes,
it's really cool.
Yes.
I love how creative people are getting. It's amazing.
Yeah, isn't it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
It's so great. So do you guys like travel out for point shoe fittings as well, or are you just store based?
We are still store based. I have not had the privilege to have. We're busy. We are busy all the time. I'm busy. I'm owner and manager, and I do payroll, and I do the ordering, and I do the vouchering. So there's a lot of hats that I wear, and I haven't had someone who can help me bear some of that weight yet.
Sure.
So everything has been store only, and we hope that at some point we could do perhaps mobile fittings, but for now we're all store based. I wish that I could. I don't even have enough staff that I could give that job to, because we are just constantly when we're in the so-called norm. That's the thing.
Yeah. It's going to be amazing when everything does return to like normal, because we'll have so many people that need us. So it's going to be great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you guys, do you have Facebook as well? Obviously, you've got Instagram. You guys,
yes, we do. Yeah, Facebook and Instagram, definitely.
Perfect. Make sure you follow all of their social media, you guys.
Please.
Would you say that you have any particular challenges with running your store? I mean, I guess one of those would be the fact that you have obviously a lot to do and a lot of admin and stuff. Is there anything else that you personally find a little bit of a challenge running like a huge store? Oops. Oh, hang on. It's loading the stream again. What's going on? Sorry guys, we lost them. They dropped their phone, I think. Let's introduce them again onto the stream. I'll click off again because I think. All right, let's get them back up. Here we go. Add. There we go.
Had a little mishap with the phone. Challenges. I have to say, other than my own challenges with office work. No, because I've got a great staff here that can do what's needed on the floor, and then some. So I would say no. As far as in store, there are not. Yeah, I'm
That's
pretty
great.
fortunate to say that. Yep.
Have you had any encounters with the fake shoes, by the way, or heard anybody that's worn them?
Well, they've tried to infiltrate us here, but we have not allowed that.
Good. Thank God
Yeah.
for that.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about more, the location that your store is in. Tell us about the area,
Yes.
How accessible it is for people to get to.
We actually, now of course, I think everybody likes to stay within their area and not have to go out too far. We are in the city of Richmond. I would say the majority of the studios we cater to are in the outlying suburbs and counties. However, the major interstate drops people off maybe 3 blocks up the street. So we are right at a major interchange for people to get off the highways and byways and get to us. We're in a shopping district called Carytown. Carytown has been around as long as Ellman's has been. So, at least 72 years.
Wow.
And it's a mile. It's a mile of small businesses, restaurants, clothing stores, all sorts of interesting boutiques. And it's very unique and very eclectic. And I like that we're in the middle of this. So I think it defines us as well. Yep.
I love the outside of your store as well. It's so quirky, and it's one that you would never forget, right?
Well, yeah. So when we first moved in, the painting, the color of the trim is like a orange coral, and there's also turquoise, and that was done by the prior tenants. So I had somebody come and give us a quote, and I said, "Yeah, I don't think I have $15,000 to give you to paint everything. So I think we're just gonna keep the trim that we have."
That's mad.
But we have a small mural on one side of our building.
Yeah.
And on the other side of our building, we did not, and it kept getting tagged. So the word on the street was, if you have a mural, because Richmond is a huge mural town, if you have a mural, nobody messes with you. So I contacted the artist who did the mural on the opposite side. I said, "Taylor, can you come and do this? I want it to be movement oriented." So I went to her website and I looked at a bunch of her sketches, and she obviously knew the building because she had done the other mural. So she came and stayed for a couple of weeks. She's in North Carolina, and she painted the mural that we have on the side, and it's brilliant. Depending on the time of day and how the sun hits it, it looks totally different with the colors. So we have been the focus of a lot of picture taking, to see the
that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's really cool. But
so with the tagging, is that like when you get people that get a spray can and put like their name and like graffiti?
Yeah, it was
I know
graffiti.
what you mean.
Yeah, it was getting worse, and it was getting worse, and it didn't make any sense to paint over it because it would just get graffitied again. So, and it was really interesting because even artists are very respectful of others, and I had contacted some other local artists, and they're like, we know Taylor, and we don't want to mess with her work even though it's on the other side of the building, and we think you should just contact her. And she was more than willing to. It was great. I mean, it was just her big thing. That wasn't, apparently if you hire a muralist to have them put their art on your wall, they don't normally charge you if you let them do what they want. And she was in the phase of hands, and I said, we are about feet, so I would rather have something movement oriented, and I will compensate you for that. Thank you very much. Yes. But she's done murals all over the world. She has got a good reputation for herself. So yeah, we are. It's really interesting because the outside of our building doesn't really dictate bunhead, pointe shoe, ballerina, dancer type It's very different, but that's okay because then you walk in here and it's like a little, it's a dance wonderland.
Oh, it's amazing. Do you have any
Yeah.
last words to add to this stream that you'd like to tell the viewers?
Gosh, that's an open-ended question. But no, everybody keep dancing and keep persevering and support your local dance retailers, please. It means
We've
the
got
world
some
to us.
lovely comments in here. Mrs. MJ Wright says, Ellman's Dancewear is amazing. It will always be a part of me. And Faye,
That's Ari. Yes, I used to work here.
Faye Perry, I don't know. Ellman's Rosemary is blessing to my dancer. Extremely knowledgeable, professional, and loving. How lovely.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
so
nice.
Sweet. Love it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been so wonderful and a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for asking me.
We'll have to have you back sometime. And when we're able to do, you know, proper fittings, we can have you on doing a fitting, showing us what you guys get up to.
Absolutely.
It'd be great. And yeah, you know, feel free to message us anytime if you need any help with regards what to stock, what, you know, I mean, you might even have questions about what kind of shanks you might get in on a certain model. Feel free to drop me a message or anybody else from the team. We'll be happy to help you out.
Yay.
And for you guys that have missed the stream, I'm going to save it as always. I'll whack it up on IGTV and on the Facebook retailers group. So be sure to catch that. Make sure you follow all of the accounts and follow Ellman's Dancewear on Facebook, Instagram. Check out their website as well. Thank you for coming.
Yay.
Yeah, it's been great. And it was lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much. You too.
Great. I'll speak to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Bye.